And joining us right now for his weekly visit with Jones and Keefe is Rob Bradford of WEEI and the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, a friend of Tyler O'Neill.
That's right.
He's brought to you by McFarland Energy, the heating, cooling, and bioheat delivery pros that Eastern Mass and all of Cape Cod depend on at McFarlandEnergy.com, by the E.L. Harvey Companies, including Nauset Disposal and Miga Disposal, your local trash collection and recycling providers, and by Aviva Trattoria, Italian-inspired, locally made from fresh, whole, locally sourced ingredients. Rob Bradford, how you doing on opening day?
Oh, McFarland. All it's missing is an Alan Webster reference, right?
Yeah,
if you're going to have Ruby De La Rosa, you have to get an Alan Webster reference. Yeah, so happy opening day. It just hits different, doesn't it?
It really does hit different. People are bullish on the Red Sox, ESPN, MLB.com, Keefe's nemesis Keith Law. Do you think people are it's getting away from them a little bit on the Red Sox? Three of us on this show have them in the World Series. Billy has them winning it. We all have them winning the division. Like, has it gotten a little carried away?
Alex Bregman's going to hit a home run today, according to Rich Keefe.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's a good bet.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together. Yeah, I mean, I think that by the way they've landed in spring training, in part because all these other teams have had so many things go poorly, and the Red Sox have had just enough stuff not go poorly. I think it has worked out for them, and that's where they've landed. I mean, I think I don't think it's unreasonable to think they're going to win this division off of what talent they have right now.
And I think one of the main reasons people are picking him is the guy starting today, Garrett Crochet. And do you think the contract thing is going to be an issue at times this year, or are they going to really be able to sort of put it to the side and just have him go out there and pitch all year?
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, today was D-Day. He's not talking beyond once today starts, so we assume that they're not talking. I mean, as we saw with Alex Cora, that changed last year. It can always change. But I think the biggest thing is that he's got another year, right? So he's got another year. He's got this year to prove himself, to prove that he's right in holding out or to going for the big ticket item when it comes to the contract. And then the fact is that maybe he gets through this year and they pay more. But as we said before, I think it's. Oh, look at this! You hear my GPS?
We absolutely hear it. Yeah,
I'm headed to the park. So,
nice. You need directions there? You never been?
Yeah. Well, no, not from this location.
Got it.
But I think that the fact is that both sides, we know the motivation. We know the motivation with this is on both sides. It's a little bit off the beaten track. You have a situation with the Red Sox. They can hold out and they can see if it's worth paying more money. And for Garrett Crochet, he can hold out and say, hey, you know what? I want to be the biggest contract in all of pitching in baseball. So this doesn't surprise me we've gotten to this point.
I want to ask you about another pitcher the Red Sox were in on this offseason. You tweeted yesterday, according to a source, Nathan Eovaldi's decision this offseason came down to the Red Sox and the Rangers. There were 6 legit suitors. I'm curious, if he chose the Red Sox, would they still have been in on Walker Buehler? Would they still have been in on Garrett Crochet? If Eovaldi chose the Red Sox, how would that have changed their approach?
I think it was the Buehler spot, not the Crochet spot. And if you look at it, it sort of fills the same bucket, right? The veteran guy, the guy who they know isn't going to wilt in the postseason, the guy who is going to be a good influence in the clubhouse. Like, all those boxes are checked. But, according to what I heard yesterday, that it really did come down to the Red Sox and Rangers. There were 6 legitimate teams interested. And it begs the question, which would you rather have, Eovaldi or Buehler? I think it's a pretty good debate. But I can see why. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's, you know what? And that's why he got his deal, right? That's why he got his 3-year deal with the Rangers. I'm sure that's put him over the top. But, so I think that you could see what they were going for. And I like the fact that they were identifying those sort of guys. I like the fact that they were identifying Eovaldi because it shows you they're not obsessed. Remember the John Henry, you can't be 30 years old and give a guy a contract. They're not obsessed with that. They're obsessed with, okay, this guy can be good in the clubhouse. He's a good pitcher. He can help us win a postseason game, and that's what Eovaldi can do.
Yeah, we heard Alex Cora yesterday talking about Devers is the DH and Bregman is the third baseman. That's sort of been the chatter over the last couple of weeks, and whether Devers loves it or not, that's sort of the reality. I guess the next layer down from that is last year's DH was Masataka Yoshida. What do you think ends up happening with him?
I would love to tell you that we've done the Venn diagrams, we've done the beautiful mind in the window, and we're trying to figure this out. And there's no path for Masataka Yoshida to be an integral part of this team if Rafael Devers is where he is right now, which we assume he is. He's going to be the everyday DH. They can talk all they want about Masataka Yoshida is going to get his arm back, he's going to be throwing, he's going to be in the field. Well, there's a reason why he didn't play in the field at all last year with what a perceived fine arm. And that's because they don't think he can field. They want a good defensive team. And so every time that they say something nice about Masataka Yoshida, that I'm just thinking they're screaming and yelling to these other teams in Major League Baseball. I will say this: he looks good, Mike. He looks good hitting. I think he's a legitimate hitter. He could be a DH for someone. He just for this team, because of the guy sitting in the DH position, I just don't think it's with the Red Sox.
Rob Bradford, weei.com, and the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, joining us here, as he does every Thursday on Jones and Keefe, here on opening day on WEEI. You mentioned how Yoshida looks this spring. I know it's been limited looks at Rafael Devers. How would you say he looks?
He's okay. I mean, the times I've seen him play, and listen, his conditioning is what it is. You're going to see him. I think you have seen him. I think he ran down and after I talked to you guys and took a video of him. He's big, but he's not like Sandoval big. And I'm not talking Patrick Sandoval. I'm talking Pablo, of course. And he hits. He's hit in spring training. The thing is that a couple things I'd be a little wary of when it comes to Devers is that he got so few at bats in spring training, and he can hit in the backfield, knock the eject machine, and all that stuff. It's baffling to me why he didn't get in more games, because games are games. That's what spring trainings are for. And the other thing is that how is he going to handle this DH thing? And I talked to him the other day. He said, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm not going to change anything. I haven't asked advice from anybody, J.D. Martinez or David Ortiz or anything. But you don't know till you get there. You don't know what it's like he's only DH 20. He started 20 games as a DH. So all these things, he might just come out and just start raking right away. But these are some of the things that if he doesn't rake, then we're going to point to and say, well, that wasn't right, and they should have adjusted it.
Is there a way for Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer to be up with the big club outside of injury to somebody in front of them?
Yeah, I mean, if someone stinks, if Abreu stinks, if Abreu isn't good, then and he really, really struggles, kind of like he did last year at the beginning of the year, and they're like, hey, you know what? You need more time in the minors or whatever it is, and Roman Anthony is tearing it up, then sure. I think for Marcelo Mayer, it's more of it just comes down to is Trevor Story or Bregman healthy? Those are the two spots that he can play. If they are healthy and they are producing, or not even if they're producing, if they're healthy, then he's going to stay in the minor leagues for now. It's still, guys, it is still baffling to me. I love spring training. I love the chicken wings. Sure. I love the beach. Mm-hmm. I love it all. And so, but of all my time in spring training, one of the most baffling things was that day Marcelo Mayer. I think I talked to you guys the day after. Marcelo Mayer playing second base. I mean, we did the podcast with Breslow. I sat down with him, and I said, okay, you got to answer this for me. And he goes on about how you earned the right to be in the competition and blah, blah, blah. And I said, but it was a day. It was a day. And he didn't really have a response to it. It was weird. And yet, because that sort of him being in the competition came and went within a day. But he was, I think, by far the best guy of those three guys in spring training.
Well, yeah, and so speaking of that, I get your point on, if Willie Abreu really struggles, maybe that's where Roman Anthony comes up. I didn't never consider Marcelo Mayer playing second base either. And so what if Christian Campbell gets off to a really slow start? And obviously he is hopefully the future of that position, and you don't want to run away from him too soon. But if it's a prolonged slump to start the year, and Marcelo Mayer is killing it at Worcester, even though he's doing it at shortstop, would there be any kind of thought of having him come up and take Campbell's spot?
I think they would be very hesitant to do it. They could do it, obviously, but you have to go through a lot of other checklists, right? You have to go through David Hamilton. You have to go through Vaughn Grissom, who's going to be playing second base in Worcester. And if neither one of those guys are impressing, And so if neither one of those guys are impressing, then make the move. But the thing is that they want Marcelo Mayer as a fail-safe at shortstop. And Trevor Story has had a bad back the last couple of weeks.
No.
That's a reminder. That's a reminder that you might need Marcelo Mayer at shortstop. So I'm not going to say no, but right now, we're looking if we do the Dustin Pedroia 2007 thing all over again, then David Hamilton would play the role of Alex Cora and get Pedroia to the finish line or get Campbell to the finish line. I don't think Marcelo Mayer would be.
I was listening to Cora yesterday on WEEI Afternoons with Hart and Fitzy, and he gave what I thought an interesting answer about Triston Casas. He was asked about Breslow's projections for him, 40 and 110 or whatever, and Cora's like, the guy's just got to play. Like, he's got to be out there. He's got to play. 150 games is the number, and if he plays that, the rest will take care of itself. I sensed a little Casas fatigue in that answer. Is he already a little worn out by the Triston Casas experience, or am I barking up the wrong tree?
I think it's cut and dry, not only with Cora, I think with basically everyone that follows the Red Sox. If he produces, great. You've got a great personality. He's a great teammate. He's different, sure, but he's producing. But if you don't produce, then all this other stuff is like it becomes a little less palatable, right? So I think that Alex Cora is saying the obvious. We need this guy to produce, and for the team, but also just for the perception of Triston Casas. I think I said it to you guys before. I don't know if there's a more polarizing athlete in Boston right now than Triston Casas. I don't know, but that's why sort of this April's so important to him to sort of get that narrative back on track, not only with Cora but with everybody.
All right, so let's play this out. If Garrett Crochet goes 6 innings today and leaves the game with a lead, what is the ideal 7, 8, 9 for the bullpen?
Ooh, I love it.
Yep.
Let's go back to 2013 when Koji, Andrew Miller, who was it? Andrew Bailey, was he in there? I don't know.
Might have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tazawa, it was Koji, Andrew Miller.
Ruby De La Rosa.
Someone else is in there. Ruby De La Rosa. Andrew. Alan Webster came in throwing in 99, and everyone freaked out. No, I think that you're going to have. Here's my guess. As I said, I really like what Whitlock has been doing. No question about it. I think Whitlock gets in there. I think Slayton gets in there. The first lefty probably maybe is Justin Miller, and then you have Chapman at the end. I don't know if they throw Hendricks out there today. I think.
Wow.
I think.
That bad?
I think. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like he's still working his way back. So. It hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been the type of level that you say, oh, there's a high leverage guy. So, I think in an ideal world, you sort of ease him back into things. But right now, I love a good power ranking. If you're going to power rank who looked the best in spring training of relievers, it was Chapman, it was Whitlock, it was Slayton.
Is it fair to say it is kind of bullpen by committee? Cora gave an answer the other day where he's like, well, Chapman's been the best guy, but if Corey Seager's up in the 8th inning, he's going to come in the 8th. I mean, is it fair to say this is bullpen by committee?
Yeah, I mean, that's how baseball is right now, but you'd better have the guy who can come back in the 9th, right?
They weren't like that last year with Jans. Oh, I see what you're saying. Matching up beforehand and then, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost all bullpens have 2 guys now, right? So it's like the Yankees, they have Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Like you have these guys, but I think that ideally, but I will say this: Cora has said he likes certainty, he likes routine. So why he said he might bring him in the 8th, I would think that he wouldn't want to wait for the 9th. And how long that dynamic lasts, it really depends on how many times you're going to go with watching Aroldis Chapman walk 3 guys before striking out the first. Because he looks good, but he has a track record of not throwing strikes.
Last thing for you, Bradford. This ended up being a pretty spirited debate last week on the show. Is the catcher a part of the infield?
Yes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's not part of the outfield.
Yeah, okay.
That was my response. Catcher's an infielder.
But he is part of the battery. He's not an infielder. A catcher's not an infielder.
No, don't sway him. He already said yes.
Can't you do both?
But you asked
you can.
You asked it in a misleading way, I feel like. Is a catcher an infielder?
All right, maybe I didn't ask it right, but I got the right answer.
Is the outfield is outfielders part of the lineup? Yeah, you can be both.
You can't be both.
It's like
they're in the lineup.
I would.
Bad point.
I hadn't thought of it.
This This is the type of thing. This is why baseball's so great. Yay, baseball.
Baseball's
right?
never boring with conversations like this.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
All right, Bradfo, we appreciate it, even with your wrong answer. We'll talk to
right
you.
answer.
We'll talk to you next week.
As I said, it's your prerogative to be wrong. So there you go.
I am used to that. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy opening day.
All right, thanks, guys. See you.
All right, Bradfo, joining us here every Thursday.
Infielder
on Jones and
confirmed.
Keefe.
Thank you to the texter who I forgot to ask him that.
Great job by the text line, because
Yeah,
I would have
text line
forgotten
was on
about that. You said, is he part of the infield? I feel like that was a leading way to ask it. Is he an infielder?
Same thing, isn't it?
No.
What's the difference?
No.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
No, because you were asking more about like where he
All right,
is on the field.
is center field a part of the outfield? Is center field
Yes.
an outfielder? It's the same thing.
Well, no, but in that case,
Well, it's
those
the same
are
question.
both yes.
Well, yeah, but
In
you
this
understand
case, they're
the
both yes too, Jones.
No, wrong.
the question's the same.
Right, but you would say like the pitcher is part of the infield, but you would say the pitcher isn't a fielder.
Yeah.
Pitcher's
Yeah,
an
the pitcher's
infielder.
not.
Did Mark Burley win a few gold
Damn it,
gloves?
that's what I need. Damn it, Billy.
He did win a Gold Glove.
That's what I
Can't
should
win
ask.
Gold Glove.
All right,
The
next
battery
week.
Gold Glove?
Next week, we'll get to the bottom of this. Is a pitcher an infielder?
Because don't the
We'll
Gold
blow
Gloves
this whole thing up?
The Gold Gloves go to the best fielders.
No, a pitcher wins one every year.
He's a fielder. He's an infielder. He plays the pitcher spot.
He's part of the battery. Is of course
It's a good
what it
point.
is.
If you win a goal, if your position wins a Gold Glove, you're a fielder.
You got to be fielding
Well, yeah,
somewhere,
you're a
and
fielder.
we've all agreed that it's not the outfield. We all agree that at the
Yeah.
very least.
But there's more than two. You make it sound like there's only two spots. There's three.
Battery fielder. I've never heard.
Outfield, infield, battery.
Where's the field in that word?
That's not in
Doesn't
the name.
exist.
It's not in the name.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
So a pitcher's an infielder.
The prosecution also rests, Your
Just
Honor.
answer that. The pitcher's an infielder.
Unwritten rule says
Yes.
he's not.
Yeah, he's not.
Reality is he's an infielder.
Thank you. I'm all about written rules.
He has a number. If there's a double play and he's involved in it, his
One.
one is involved.
One.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That, like that guy that called Greg today was pissed. He's like, the team can't be good. They can't turn 2 4 years ago. It was a wild take. He's like, they don't have middle infielders
No,
to
but
turn 2.
you almost have to respect.
He goes,
a take
their
like
double
that.
play combinations trash 4 years ago. And then Greg's like, you wanted me to ask Will Middlebrooks about that? It's a good call.
next week.
Yeah.
If the pitcher wasn't a fielder, why would he have a glove?
Thank you, Nick.
I didn't say he isn't a fielder.
Finally.
I said he's not an infielder. I didn't say he's not a fielder. He's not an
Well,
infielder.
then where's he?
He's part of the battery.
Apparently, he's part of the battery field.
Yeah, wait,
According to Jones, the
battery
battery
thing.
field. Yeah, great.
Text line agrees with me. Text line greater than Bradford. I always say.